Hello everyone, Mark here from Digital Groove Online and welcome back to this week's video. And today we're going to look at arranging a track out. So a few weeks ago I sat down and gave myself a challenge to write a deep melodic house track, and you know, it's not complete but it's thereabouts. And I also want to go through how I would go about arranging that, and I find it very useful whenever we find tracks in a similar genre and we bring those tracks in and use that basically as a blueprint for the arrangement of the track. So I'm going to go through that here. Hopefully it takes about half an hour or so if you stick around we should be able to map you out and give you an idea as to what mapping out the basic arrangement against another reference track looks like. So the track a few weeks ago is this. And the reference track that we're going against is this here. Not exactly like for like, but it's a melodic house genre track, so we're going to try and arrange that out. So I've got the main parts of the track here, and we're going to zoom in. The first thing I've done was bring in the reference track and synced it to the tempo of my track. It wasn't a million miles away. I think it was 123, but you can hear some slight artifacts after the warping has happened, but you know, that's not important. The important thing is that it's lined up across the grid at the top, and we can sort of look at then building the track in a similar fashion. So we'll zoom in here, create myself some space here at the side, and we'll have a listen to the reference firstly. So there is a little sweep of an intro. This is the radio mix, by the way. So if we have a listen to the arrangement at the very start, the first thing that comes in is the kick, the bass, a little bit of percussion, and maybe an arp, and they're slowly building atmosphere from the start as well. You can hear that atmosphere in the background. And then it gets across to here. You can hear that opening up a little bit, and there's a little drop here. So let's get the kick drum across first of all, and we'll just open the bass, and we'll just go with the sub bass at the very start, and we'll keep those bass changes in as well. And let me just see whether I'll go with this pluck. Okay, so we'll maybe filter some of those up over time. Let's have a listen to that bell sound again. There may be a little filter on it that needs to be changed. And there is. Okay, let's put this up. Okay, let's bring that over to the start here. We'll duplicate that up, and we'll maybe just filter that down to that point there, and we'll just take these ones over as well, which is this sound. Okay, we're going to duplicate that across as well, and maybe we'll give that a little flutter towards the end. Going to bring that down nice and low at the start. We'll maybe just raise this up as it gets to the end here. Just going to look at the actual filter as well. Ooh, I have done the frequency modulation depth rather than, let me just delete that out. And we'll maybe look at the cutoff instead. Let's see where we need to start that. Okay, we'll start that about there. Okay, and let me see some of the percussion. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so we'll not put the claps just yet. Yeah, we'll bring those over as well. Yeah, we'll bring that over to the Foley loop. Yeah, just take some more of that lower end out there. And we will bring the atmosphere over too. Now the atmosphere will filter right down and bring that up over time. Okay, so let's have a listen to that all together. So let's see what happens after this moment here. Now they're different sounds obviously, so we're just going to have to think of elements that we want to bring in. So I'm going to leave the grand piano out for now, maybe till the breakdown. I'll bring the mallets in there, along with, let me see the percussion. I think things are starting to filter down towards the end of that, but we'll bring in the mallet now, which is this sound. And the claps will come in there. Or should they? Let's see. Doesn't really have too much claps in it, so we will bring ours in there. And let's have a listen to the ambience as well. It's a bit glitchy. I think I've taken I've split stems from somewhere on that. We just keep that for the breakdown. We'll bring in the second part of the bass. And we'll keep the strings out for now as well. We'll keep the crash and the clap in. And yeah, maybe we will use some of that vocal there. Let's have a listen to that now. Just drops out there, so let's take that out of the way too. Let's hear how that comes to the break. Sort of still has the bass, and some of the percussion, so I'm going to go with the and that as well. Also duplicate that up, bring it down a little bit. Let's see what happens with this. Maybe bring in these little ambience here. Maybe the second time around bring this string in, which is this here. Okay, so let's see how it feels. Filter that down. Okay, so we'll bring that filter down there as well. Let's have a listen So let's hear how they come down out of this. Yeah, so there's piano chords there halfway across. Let's have a listen. Okay, the piano chords come in there. Let's see how they build up out of this. This percussion seems to keep filtering still. Sort of filters back up again. Okay, and then there's sort of a build, but we'll do the filter of the percussion here so that it comes nice and quiet. Let's take that off and also make sure that the grand piano is turned on this time, so let's have a listen. So obviously these maybe need to keep going too. Just going to keep duplicating this up. That's building up. We're going to take this section here. Drop it here where it looks like it drops. Yeah. And then there's obviously a build in here. Okay, so we're going to start bringing this in. Yeah. And also, let's take this. Get that across. Let's have a listen what happens in this one here. Yeah, so the bass comes back in again there. Maybe both of them. And it looks like there's a bit of a build as well. So there's this little section here where we can darken down for the filter. Yeah, so we'll filter this down again a little bit. Bend that back up. So I think the actual bass sort of high passes out in that range, so let's put a filter on it. These are things you may not think of, but it's great to reference against another person's track. Your elements are completely different. It's the storytelling it sort of helps with, and there's no harm in bringing in more than one reference track and sort of like taking your favourite parts from each one. Now, once we build these blocks out, obviously there's further work to do. You would sort of start going through that story and making sure that elements come in and out at the right time, maybe add additional elements as well and additional energy in those areas and make subtle changes, but this is how you get the blueprint in. So let's have a listen to the bass filtering out. was in the right lane. What I might actually do on this is just completely filter this down as well, and then bring it back up. Okay, so let's have a listen just to see what that sounds like. Yeah, so we need to make sure. Let's go back to the diva. This actually sounded better down here. Maybe bring in the vocals there. So I need to fix these parts here. with some of the filters there towards the end as well. Let's hear how this track ends. So we could finish it something similar to that. I think it just repeats these over. Yeah, we could probably drop the which is quite cool. And obviously if it was a DJ mix, you would do, you know, maybe a minute intro, a minute outro on both sides. But as I say, I just wanted to come in today and show you how I would start the arrangement for a track. And as I say, it's quite basic in a sense, but just something's mapped out. Now I can get rid of the actual reference track that we've pulled in there and start making it your own, making tweaks, adding elements, adding energy in certain areas, and removing things that maybe you didn't like as well. But it gets over the mental block of just, you know, building into a drop and coming out again, and just, you know, opening filters from the start to the end. It gives you some sort of ideas as where the artist that you're looking at has created tension and released energy within the track as well. So hopefully that has been beneficial to you. I'm hoping to get the track finished at some stage. I also need I'm aware that I need proper vocals for it. They're just sort of placeholders at the minute, and I like the vibe of the actual vocalist itself, so it's just something for me to consider when I'm getting a vocal made for the track as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and until next week, I'll see you again.